Welcome back, everyone. Pal Ponder on Weather here. This week is transition week as we start the beginning stages of much colder weather moving in, and then Arctic air moves in next week. So let's take a look at the overall jet stream this morning. And this is just the latest round of these series of atmospheric river events that have been pummeling the West Coast literally for the past 3 weeks, with more heavy rainfall this morning. And we've got the last system that's going to be finally trailing behind that one will enter the West Coast by Wednesday, Thursday timeframe. But to the north, we're going to be having some heavier snows break out by the middle of the week. Some severe storms heading down towards the southeast. While we have an upper level low pressure center off the coast of Nantucket this morning, bringing some windy conditions and some snow showers for them, as well as into Maine. So if we take a look at the overall hazards, we've got flood watches lit up across the West Coast with more heavy rain for them, but it's going to be all snow as you head towards the mountains of Arizona back into Flagstaff. They could easily pick up 2 feet of snow in the next day or so, but we've got scattered winter weather advisories into portions of Nevada as well as into Utah, but then newly issued winter storm watches there in Denver, going into portions of Kansas as well as portions of Nebraska here. Yeah, we could be looking at easily 6 to 10 inches of snowfall, and there's your wind advisories up there by Cape Cod there with that upper level low, and then going to be blanketing some more snow up there in Maine, as well as heavier amounts as you go into northern portions of Maine. And we do have a swath of snow showers coming across portions of Minnesota as well as into Wisconsin. So if you are new to the channel and like detailed weather breakdowns on North America, hit the subscribe button and you're in. You get all my daily content on this channel. It's also important to hit the like button as well. It definitely helps out more than you know. So today we're actually going to be giving away a free giveaway as one of these Weatherflow weather stations from Tempest. I've actually personally had one of these myself for several years now, and I love it. And it only takes about 10 minutes to install. So in order to win one of these, you have to hit the like button, and then you have to use the keyword Tempest, and you got to be a subscriber to the channel. So go ahead and hit the like button. When you comment below, use the word Tempest and be a subscriber to your channel. I'll do a random drawing tomorrow and announce the winner, so stay tuned for that. If you'd like to purchase one of these at a discount, I'll have the link below in this video. So let's take a look at the overall setup for today. So yeah, along the West Coast with the newest atmospheric river event, more light to moderate rain. You're going to be pummeling the West Coast. There's your snow with the renewed winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. But in the middle of the country, it's all about the warm conditions with that warm front pulling through the central part of the U.S., really rapidly warming up these temperatures like you've seen for an extended period of time. But where that warm front is, that's where the rain showers are going to be over portions of Illinois as well as Wisconsin. And there's the snow is going to be flying into portions of Montana as well as in the Dakotas. And there with that upper level low there, we could be looking at some snow and ice into portions of Maine, and then snow down further south into portions of, say, Rhode Island, down there in Cape Cod there near the Boston area, getting some snowflakes this morning. But as you extend into Tuesday, that same system will continue to move a little bit further off into the east. Now we're talking some heavier rains actually into portions of Phoenix for them, and the snow is going to be cranking in Flagstaff. But further to the north, it's all snow as well, in and around the Utah area, getting into portions of western Colorado as well. But there's the warm front across the middle of the country, and we could be looking at some record high temperatures as well. And that rain showers will extend across portions of the southeast, extend through West Virginia, as portions of western PA could be looking at some light to moderate rains as well. But there's your record temperatures talking on Tuesday. Now this is going to be the last of the record temperatures, I promise you. But wow, we got widespread 80s, if almost 90 degrees down there in South Texas, as that warm front will be really rapidly increasing those temperatures with those southwest winds. But we do have a cold front trailing behind this, going to put the squash on those record high temperatures really for the rest of the month. So But on Wednesday, it's going to be a big day because we're talking severe weather along with snow. So here's the severe weather setup into East Texas, up across portions of Louisiana, getting into Arkansas as well as Mississippi. There could be a bumpy ride into the afternoon and evening time frame with, again, all three modes of severe weather on the table. It does not look as significant as it was last week. So that is the good sign, but still you have to be in high alert for this particular system. But we could be looking at a swath of heavier rains as too. Down in this yellow shaded area, easily 2 to 4 inches of rain. This is just during the day on Wednesday. And then where the green shaded areas are, you could be picking up, say, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. So there's your setup on Wednesday. So most of the systems, again, moves essentially east of the I-35 corridor. You could see some showers into Oklahoma City and into Dallas and, say, Austin, but we're really not expecting much. Most of the instability is going to be in East Texas and where the severe threat is and where they're going to be seeing that heavier rainfall. But there's the snow really start to crank out into portions of Denver, back into Kansas, just the north side of this, cranking into portions of South Dakota as we have our last system moving in for the Pacific Northwest as it starts to dry out on the southern flank of California by then. So here's your snow as we head into Wednesday. So it's going to be a busy day with severe weather on the south side, heavier rains, and then the snow breaks out to the northwest there, back into Colorado, through Kansas, through Nebraska. A good 6 to 12 inch swath is going to be swinging through during the day on Wednesday. And then the setup on Thursday as that snow swath continues to lift a little bit further northeast, that'll set up the snows across portions of Iowa, getting into northern portions of Illinois, as well as of Wisconsin there, as into Minnesota. You can see the amounts of what we could be looking at for that 24-hour time frame on Thursday. But we're also going to be talking about some more severe weather. So you're still in that warm sector further south. And as you dealt with for the past 3 weeks, you could have more storms break out in Georgia, into the Carolinas, through portions of North Carolina as well, into Virginia. So it's going to be a pretty fast moving systems. These systems going to be setting up over Wednesday and then heading into Thursday. So definitely be on high alert and just be weather aware if you're in these areas for that severe threat as we get into the afternoon evening time frame. But to the north, it's just all about the snow, as we'll have lighter amounts as we creep towards into the northeast, but we'll be adding to those totals and heavier amounts and more accumulations up there into Vermont and New Hampshire and back into Maine again with more renewed snow for them. But as we get into next week, so that's going to be your transition week to much colder, and then Arctic air moves in. It's really going to be setting up with a negative P&A out west. The colder air really starts to build out west, and it will slowly move eastbound as we get deeper into next week. At the same time, we start drying out in California, and as we trend colder, we'll have above average precipitation anomalies as well, and that will increase the snow chances as well going forward. So let's take a look at the setup. So as we transition to Saturday, we start to see the beginning stages of this ridge starting to build up into Alaska. That shuts down the taps in California, but it also sets up the trough underneath. So this trough is going to be able to continue to move where they have not moved for a couple of weeks, right? It's been really dry in this region. So this is first sign of this pattern change that's going to unfold after the 20th that we kind of been highlighting on this channel. We could be looking at much colder conditions setting up over New Mexico and to portions of Texas here as we start to see more unsettled weather move in as well. So this is significant, as much of these areas have been bone dry for about a month now, are finally getting precipitation back into the picture. But it's going to be falling in the form of snow into portions of eastern portions of New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle, and places like into Dallas and central Texas should have increased rainfall and a chilly rain going into your Saturday time frame as we start to see these below average temperatures move in, which is again something you have not seen in 3 weeks. It's not Arctic air, but it's below average air that will move in as you see the freeze line is to the north into that red line there. So as we transition into your Sunday time frame, there's where the instability will continue to move through. I think this is more of a chillier rain as well further south. It's not severe. This would be more of a chillier rain by then into portions of the southeast, and it could be cold enough to start snowing again into portions of Kentucky as well as into West Virginia. But we start to look to the northwest and out west as we have that Arctic air really start to move in by then and really deepen and amplifying going into early next week. So we start to see the ridge continuing to build. The stronger this gets, it's going to set the trough underneath, and this is going to amplify this trough and really deepen the colder air as this will be transition week, and next week the Arctic air will arrive, and it's going to be coming in from the west. So look at the jet stream as we head into Tuesday. When's the last time you saw a 1045 Arctic high pressure? That's a sign of that Arctic high pressure moving in, but it's also a sign the jet stream dips. We talked about the SOI index going negative. That activates yesterday. That activates the subtropical jet. And that's going to be a significance as we have this low pressure center. As cold air continues to push further south, that will cause overrunning setups to start taking shape and increase the snow chances and wintry precipitation as well. Because we take a look at the teleconnections, that's a sign of Arctic air moves in after the 20th. This is the 21st on the EPO. Your East Pacific Oscillation starts to take a nosedive once we head into next week, and as we get deeper into next week, it continues to pummel further south. That's a significant sign of Arctic air is definitely on the way. At the same time, the ridge builds up in Alaska with the negative SOI. That sets the stage for increased wintry precipitation chances as well as Arctic air moves from the north to the south. So they look at these temperature anomalies as we head into your Tuesday, the 24th time frame. Much colder conditions. This is probably something you haven't seen since around Christmas time, since we had that Arctic outbreak unfold then. So we've had warmer conditions and more of a what they call a January thaw for the last couple of weeks, but signs are going to be changing, trending much colder as we get deeper into January. And look at the temperatures on the wind chill factor. Yeah, that's a sign of true Arctic air moving in with these feels like temperatures well below zero across the plains. That'll be on next Tuesday. Single digit showing back up in Kansas and Oklahoma as well as the Texas Panhandle. You can see how sharp this is. 78 degrees in Brownsville, while it feels like 12 in Wichita Falls. So that's a sign of true Arctic air moving back in the picture with the low pressure center underneath. That's going to spell trouble with wintry precipitation. So we should be looking at not only precipitation, but this should fall in the form of snow further south into Oklahoma, into Texas, places maybe into North Texas, where we see a transition. We could be looking at maybe an icy setup starting to take shape in and around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We'll have to fine tune this. This is 8 days out, but all the pieces of the puzzle are definitely coming together as we're going to have wintry precipitation much further south and much colder air moves in next week from west and slowly build east as we get deeper into the week. So let's show you some of the overall ensemble guidance right now for next Wednesday. Much colder air moves in from the west, will continue to build across the central U.S. and eat away some of those warmer temperature anomalies you've been dealing with out east, right? I get it. It's been well above average. You know, some of these areas experienced their third warmest January on record, if not almost the warmest on record so far. But changes are definitely on the table as we get deeper into January and as we get towards the 28th time frame. That colder air will typically encompass pretty much the entire lower 48 by then. So let's take a look at some of these ensembles as far as the probability on snow. This question I get a lot on this channel. Hey, pal, when's it going to start snowing again? When's it going to start snowing again, right? So this is just gives you an idea what the ensembles look like right now between now and to the end of the month. So this is the probability of seeing at least 1 inch of snowfall in your area. So all these areas in red, that's 100%. That's 100% chance you're going to see at least 1 inch of snowfall, right? The probabilities start going down like you would think they would the much further south they go, but it still puts at least chances of snow into Oklahoma, Kansas, Mississippi, across portions of the southeast, into Tennessee, into Kentucky, back into Texas here with some southern snow, and along the northeast. So some of these areas in the northeast, 100% chance of seeing at least 1 inch, right? This is on the Canadian model. This is actually the GFS model, kind of implying the same thing, right? It puts the snow swath along these same areas. You could see your probabilities of seeing at least some snow between now and the end of the month. And here's the latest European guidance as well. So you got to understand some of these areas, like into Houston, you only average like 1 inch of snow for the entire season. So to even get 1 inch of snow, you would be basically average to almost above average. In a lot of these places further south into Louisiana and Mississippi, you just don't see that much snow. So it's not like unheard of that's nothing's here. Not that say that you might not get any. It's just over the overall ensembles, the probabilities aren't there. Not to say that it cannot happen, but your higher probabilities are where these colors are on the models here. And I kind of want to give you an idea of what the overall ensembles are kind of looking at least right now for all 3 global guidances out there. So hey guys, I appreciate you guys following. Do like this video and definitely hit the subscribe button, and also catch me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I update on those platforms as well, and catch me in the next update where I protect you before and after the storm.